I like we need a little introduction. We need to set the scene.
The scene's been set.
Welcome to the flow point method.
Whoa.
What?
I was over here trying
I was
not to
lumixing, I was Sonian. Welcome
trying not to look fat.
Welcome to the Flow Point Method podcast. We don't know what episode this is. We'll find out when we get there. So, today's episode, for most of the world, I feel like Australians are going to get mad at me for that one.
Northern Hemisphere.
For Northern Hemisphere, it is off season. It is cold, and if you are mad, then you will be skiing. I've decided to run away to warmer climates because much easier. You should try it. But cold water slalom skiing. Lots of people do it. I did it a lot when I was younger. I didn't really slalom too much, but I did a lot of tricking in the winter. But today we are going to talk about slaloming in the winter months. What to do when it is freezing cold. You're from California, which I have now recently found out in this moment. It's been like December 7th. California gets cold. What are your tips and tricks?
Yeah, just outside the door, if you take him outside, he screams like a little girl because it's so cold.
Florida kid now.
He did not expect that. But first, I would just like to say that Jenny probably would tell people, look, you probably should take some time off the water.
Yeah,
so we'll just say that.
That's the official response.
That's the official
unofficial response when you want to keep skiing through the winter is...
If you want to keep skiing a certain amount, a lower percentage amount, right? You don't want to ski freaking 2
You're not going to be doing
a day.
7 sets, 7 sets a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Weekend skiing, to enjoy it.
To enjoy it. Number one, I'll say that we know the science has pretty much proven that cold plunging is healthy for you.
Oh, it's going very flow point method.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like cold water exposure is great for you. It's healthy for you. So there's a benefit right there.
Yeah.
So why not every once in a while get in that water, go do some skiing, keep the ski muscles tuned up a little bit.
Yeah.
Keep the brain ski muscles tuned up a little bit. As far as how to do it, obviously, you have a choice: dry suit, long suit, spring suit, bathing suit.
One thing I would like to add to that while we're here,
bikini.
If you haven't tried a thick suit in the last 8 years or so, give it a go.
A thick suit. What do you mean by a thick suit?
I mean like a 5'4".
Okay, very thick.
Because
instead of a dry suit.
Not to drop brands, they all make them, but O'Neill. I bought an O'Neill wetsuit, and this is tricks, right? I used to trick in the winter. I used to go out for 2 30-minute sets a day. For 2 seasons, it was pretty much, I would do 10 trick sets a week.
And you have a very low cold tolerance, by the way. So.
I do now, and that was ice on the water, right?
Yeah.
That's just the situation that it was in. It was pretty chilly, and every now and then ice would get. So it was cold.
Yep.
And I would put a neoprene sock on, which you probably don't need for slalom because you're only in there for 10 minutes.
Yep.
A 5'4", and I would trick for 40 minutes in this thing. It's a wetsuit.
You put a hood on.
And I put a hood on.
Yeah.
And good gloves, 3-2 mil gloves. That's for tricks.
Yep.
But the wetsuits have got incredibly good. So if you're out there and going, wetsuits suck, maybe give one a go if you feel like, because dry suits are kind of big, they're kind of flappy, they're kind of uncomfortable, they rip all the time. Every time you pull them out, like the wardrobe at the start of the year, and mice has nibbled on one, or they've degraded, and we had so many problems with them winter training. So that would be my first PSA, is wetsuits are way better than you would think. And maybe it might be worth giving one a go and get a good wetsuit. 5'4" will pretty much be a dry suit. And any water that kind of leaks in is like a bubble, and it makes you kind of feel like you peed yourself, but it gets very, very warm. So wetsuits are very good. What?
I bet you like that.
Not a fan of that one.
It's like
I don't
warm.
like peeing in a suit too much, but I do like the warmness.
Okay, let's assume everybody has their kind of
equipment dialed.
What are some other tricks that you use for cold water skiing? Like, I know some things with the warm water bucket and, this and that. What do you do? So
this could be debatable, and I'd love to actually be told the correct answer, because I don't know. I've tried both, and none of them really worked.
Okay.
Is warm water before your set was a bad idea. So I slalomed, I did a little bit before 2021. I slalomed for like a month in March, and before my Worlds in December, I was training. So I haven't only tricked, I have slalomed. So the biggest thing that I found was I used to wash my hands, obviously. Always have done in the last 5 years.
As we know. Thanks, Bob.
But I would wash them in hot water and then start to go to mild room temperature, probably colder than water.
Get your little thermometer
and then put my gloves on in that cold water.
Yeah.
So not late cold, not 32
Ice.
degrees, not 0 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
It was like cold water.
Yeah.
So that when my hands went in them, when I went outside and started skiing, they didn't all of a sudden feel like they got way colder.
Sure.
That kind of helped me. Another one was a warm water bottle in the lake. in the boat so that I can spray my hands. That really helped. But
what are the biggest pain points? Usually hands.
Feet. My feet after first pass, it's gone. It's fine.
Head?
Dealt with it.
Head, no.
I never really dealt with the head. And again, I think all of it comes back to what is your goal in off-water training.
Maybe we should talk about that because we focus on equipment. But what would be the goal for somebody trying to maintain some sort of ski cadence through the winter, whether it's once a week?
Cadence.
Okay.
Rhythm and cadence. Sorry, you said the word and I was like, boom. That's the posh word for it. Rhythm and cadence.
Okay.
Like, you're not going to probably... I know we've all seen the video of Nate running 41.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, impressive. You can do it, probably. Is it a good idea? Probably not. You're better trying to find rhythm, trying to find cadence, and really kind of trying to smash that in. A lot of people tend to go slightly slower with the boat. Not to going from like 36 to 34, but, or maybe you can.
Yeah.
If you're there to enjoy it, but just go maybe a mile an hour slower.
35 or something.
Just to kind of settle things down a bit.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've found, if you ski through, and if you are planning on skiing through the winter, don't tell Jenny, she'll tell you off. But no, if you are skiing through the winter, actually that can be better. I've had bigger problems in the past when I stopped for a month, took time off, tried to come back in November, and everything felt so fast.
What do you mean bigger problems? Like it felt fast for one
set? I couldn't do it.
Felt fast for like a month.
I set the scene. I had Junior Worlds December. No, start of January. I was going to Florida for a month beforehand.
Yep.
It's freezing in England. So then I had the time from September through till November when it's cold.
Sure.
Until the start of December when it's cold, 3 months. And I was like, right, well, be sensible. Take some time off, take a month off so that you can hit Florida hard.
Sensible.
Do some sets beforehand in England for a month.
Yep.
And every single one of those sets, I could barely run my second pass. 2 years later, same situation, exactly. Worlds was in January. Going to Florida for a month beforehand. College didn't like that one, but they dealt with it.
Yeah, whatever.
And I did the same thing. I was like, right, learn from your mistakes. I skied through, and I didn't drop a buoy, I didn't drop a meter, and I didn't drop, a foot. Yeah. And I didn't drop a trick. So that is one thing. If you're a kid out there and you have like Junior Worlds, again, exact same situation, it's January. Play with it. If you need a break, take a break. But if you feel ready, if you feel raring, it was a massive, massive, massive bonus for me to kind of train through that. Then the temperature drops slowly. You're getting sets in as it drops, and nothing goes from, oh, my head's cold, it feels fast, the ski's not getting angle, the ski's not sliding. You just kind of learn to deal with it, and I literally didn't drop anything.
Yeah. Well, it's good points you bring up. I do think whatever people have different goals, ambitions, desires,
100%.
needs.
This is for the training.
For the like cream of the crop, exactly. Like training for Worlds, Junior Worlds, Pan Ams, whatever. There's definitely something to be said for you got to stay sharp, right? The other side of that too is what's your long-term goals? Like if a different story. If you really love skiing and you're passionate about it, and it's something that you can't really stop doing because you just you don't feel whole. Like you still need to keep it going a little bit, especially if you aren't prone to mental burnout. 100%. It's physical and mental burnout. It's under recovering in the mental capacity, under recovering in the physical capacity that we're really worried about, and becoming imbalanced. Right, you're standing asymmetrically, tandem stance on a slalom ski. If we're talking about just slalom, and there's a lot of asymmetrical loading. There's a lot of nagging stuff that can start to come up if you don't take time away. That's one of the big reasons. And then the mental aspect, if you don't get away from it for a little bit and kind of reset mentally, there's a chance of burnout.
So I 100% agree with the body for everyone, for whether good, bad, middle, nothing. But in terms of mental burnout, I think, again, we're looking at top end. I think we're looking at the people that have got past the point of I do this sport because I love it and do it every single day. We all love it if we do it. I hope so. It's expensive, but it's a great sport. But at the top end, national kind of level, sometimes you ski when you don't want to. Sometimes you have to, because you have to if you want to be very, very good. But I feel like, again, the bell curve, there's a lot of people in the middle there that wish they could ski forever and won't burn out because they love it. They just love being on the water. They get to come home from work, maybe ski once or twice in the week, go out with their kids, go out with the family, go ski on the weekend. And that's kind of where I would look at the other side of the mental burnout side of things. And if it's your escape, if it's your hole, if it's your heart, and you're like, no, I need to take my SARM set every week. Maybe in 2 years' time, you'll get burnout. But I think if you feel like you're still loving it, don't be afraid to keep...
Don't shy away from
that. I'm kind of on that this year. Everyone's like, obviously, Will, John, they've been around things a lot longer than me. They're like, oh, I need a break. I'm done. I don't want to look at a ski for a month. I've been training hard, ski testing, all that stuff. But I'm like,
you're like, let's go, let's do it.
But I was kind of like, am I wrong? Am I making a mistake from doing this? Maybe we'll find out in a podcast in 6 months' time. I'm like, I burnt out, should have taken a break. But my body feels good.
Yep.
My mind feels good, and we've gone on massive tangent, but I want to keep going, and I want to enjoy it. And I think don't be afraid to keep going, as long as, if you want to be a good skier, you're focusing on your body, you're making sure things are set, you're enjoying it. You're working on off water if you want to become better. And that's like the other side of it. Fixing those imbalances. The way that I like to look at it is I don't stop skiing, but my skiing is 90% in the season of skiing. That's my head, that's my body. Mm-hmm. And then I do warm-ups. I do the warm-up protocol, essentially, on flow point. Mm-hmm. And I take that as my gym. I like to move through, make sure my body's fluid. I don't think I have a strength off problem in the season. Mm-hmm. Off season, I like to think of it, okay, it doesn't go the other way, 90-10, but it's like 60-40. Yep. Skiing's 60% because I love it, and then 40% of that goes to the gym. And I would sacrifice a ski set for a gym session. Yep. But in the summer, I'm very rarely going to sacrifice a ski sesh for a gym session. Yep. So changing those priorities up and going, right, I want to be better next year. Let's put some time in, build better foundations, and most importantly, stop injuries.
Talk about expectations. So when we get back to cold water skiing specifically, and training, and trying to go out and ski when it's suboptimal temperatures, what are some kind of realistic expectations for people? Say somebody who's normally can run like 28 off, right? On a good day, they run 28 off. What reasonably could they expect to be doing in the cold months when they're skiing in a dry suit, a long wetsuit?
With a break, if you run your first pass, I'd throw the fist.
Yeah. No, I'm
not that easy. Missed many. I did a video on this. It was like first set back in 2 months. I literally videoed my first set back.
No, but if they're trying to ski through the winter, what expectations? So what should they be aiming for? Should
rhythm.
they be rhythm?
I think it's different for different people.
Sure.
But I think you're gonna. I would not be surprised if you drop a pass. That's 100% probably guaranteed. Yep. You run a dry suit, you feel comfortable, and you will run it, but it's probably not going to be as good because you're tight. Everything's locked up.
Yep.
And it's very cold. Skis react differently. We can get to that in a minute. Yep. But you're probably going to drop a pass. If you don't drop a pass, I wouldn't be surprised. And if you drop 2 passes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I trained through and I didn't lose that many boys. It just didn't become as pleasant.
Yeah.
And so I think in that, drop your expectations. It's not going to feel as smooth. It's not going to feel as easy. You're probably not going to be as up course because of some other stuff, the way that Mr. Engineer over there, the ski works, and
we should get to that in maybe another episode, or this episode.
Maybe we could touch on that. I think we should do it on this one. I think we should touch on this one. Then we're going to do a fin episode because that's always exciting.
Okay, well then talk about what do you feel differently when you get to cold water? What adjustments do you have to make, whether it's a technical adjustment or an equipment adjustment?
So biggest one for me, technique. Just focus on it. It's nothing changes for me necessarily. I have to focus on slightly different stuff, but that's because of the ski and the fin and the setup and the way it reacts. I don't personally change my fin, or I haven't changed my fin for cold water skiing in the past. I like to feel, in my understanding of it, is the water's, simple words, grippier or soupier. It's thicker. Like it's going to hold more, but the ski is also going to sit higher because of that thickness.
Yeah.
So for me, the feeling that I have, it's much harder for the ski to smear. It's harder to rotate everywhere. The skis don't just smear through the finish of the turn like everyone thinks.
Yeah.
It's harder to smear as we build into first wake. It's harder to smear as we move off second side. So the ski, in the words actually, and Matt Reaney sent me a message on this when I did a video on this, and the way that he worded it I really, really liked, was it's gonna be harder to turn. You're gonna get stuck on a line, so you're gonna track incredibly well. But that line just isn't going to be as good. You're not going to get that same finish through the finish of the buoy, and you're not going to get that smear and build into the first wake as much. So that, mental-wise, is where I start to focus on my technique, about being a little more, I'm not a big fan of the word patient, but by focusing on building angle through the finish of the turn so that I'm not just kind of turning and trying to go. I have to make sure that I'm bringing that ski round and it's coming with me, because it's harder to build that angle. So I have to focus more on getting that angle, not being too heavy early, and then almost letting that tracking do the work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, those are good points. I feel like that pretty much mirrors what I felt through the years,
Yeah.
trying to ski in cold water. Quite difficult.
Quite difficult.
Frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, like you're on a different path, and the path is not the one you want to be on.
It's tough to find it. I think it can be, but it's very tough to find it.
Very tough.
Yeah.
Yep. So if we're gonna take it a step further, because I feel like if you can understand the why, then you can understand how to cope with it better. Why do you think that is? Just generally speaking, or if you want to get in the weeds, why do you think cold water is like that?
Why was it created that way?
What is it that's
I think I didn't get it.
So that you could
I didn't study that. That was not a question. Sorry, carry on. What are you trying to...
What is it that either creates that situation, or how can you
deal with that situation?
How can you deal with it better with your movements?
So again, for me, simple, easy, not the root cause. But again, usually at the start of the season, haven't skied in 2 months, I kind of just need something to figure out. Is a big part of it's finish of the turn. And I know we've said it before, turns on all of it, turns on everything, it's all beforehand. But for me, a big part of it is making sure that I'm patient and getting angle through the finish of the turn to build on into the wakes, because I'm not going to get as much early. But the main thing for me is everything's fast. So making sure I commit to first wake, and kind of especially on the gate, driving angle and position into that first wake. Like
when you say commit to first wake, explain that to people.
Well, people go, okay, it feels fast, so I'm going to be fast. So I need to
let up,
be slower. So then people start trying to edge change early, coming off edge early, trying to come inside early to get ready for the turn. The biggest thing for me is, and we've talked about this in the past, and another podcast idea, is I want to take the longest path into the buoy. But it's so hard to trust that that's going to give us the right speed. So committing to angle into first wake, committing to holding it through off that second side, through that edge change, and really trusting the swing of the rope, so I can get up on the boat. And then I'm in a position where I can think about being more patient through the finish of the turn. So essentially, get more angle, hold more angle, and just swing with that angle, you know?
Rhythm, yeah. About the turn, though, because that's kind of a key focus for you, trying to figure out how to optimize through the backside of that finish of the turn. I know free skiing you mentioned before. Would you consider that something for people just coming back to skiing, or for people trying to continue to ski throughout the winter? Should they touch on that once every 2 weeks, once every week? I think it's not at all. Like, how do you think about it? Because I have my opinions, but I want to hear your take on it.
As in the turn, like trying to be lighter and
as in
slightly more.
Can free skiing be a tool that can help you work on something like that?
100%. Disclaimer, haven't done much free skiing. Okay. I spend 99.9% of my time on very small man-made lakes. So I haven't done that much free skiing. I have seen a lot of free skiers come to ski with and help them deal with going to the course. So I'm quite well educated in the fact of it. I just haven't had that much. Free skiing on small lakes is tough. There's a lot of boys.
It's tough.
I should do more of it 100% to get rhythm.
Ramps, there's buoys.
It's just stuff in the way. But I tend to just go earlier and do slightly more early passes, slightly more back-to-backs at the start of it. But 100% free skiing, I believe, is very, very useful. A lot of you have no choice but to free ski.
Yeah.
So again, we've talked about this a lot, building athletic stance. So standing right on the ski and building rhythm. The two most important things, and you can do that without a course. Building your relationship with the boat, building your relationship with the pull, not just trying to dump a shoulder and go. Trying to bring your ski around through the finish, stay balanced over the top of it, so that by the time we're pulled, we're in that athletic stance, that strong position, and then we can hold that to center line.
Yeah, cold water. Anything else you want to say?
I think we should touch on fins. I think we should touch on the fact that a lot of people want to change their fin. I went down a ball of spray forum on this. We've been doing the ball of spray boss episodes, watch them.
Yep.
They're a lot more relaxed than this, and a lot more fun.
Pretty much the same, but no.
Just a little more banter, a little more argument.
Banter, yeah.
A little more opinionated, we'll say that one. And I went down the article and there was like some people add 10,000, some people take 10,000, some people move back, some people move forwards. Yes, you might find a temporary band-aid for the problems, but I think at the end of the day, the fin that you dialed in the summer usually is probably the fin that's going to be dialed in the winter for most people. It's not going to feel good. It's the winter. The change that you made was probably felt good because you had some more sets on it, or you dialed in a bit more. Yes, fins can be changed and it can help if you get the right setting, just like anything. In warm water, you can change a fin and it can get way better. You can change a fin and it can get way worse. Maybe that's just where the fin needed to be.
True.
And then you get to the summer, you've started skiing too much, you haven't taken a break, your skiing goes down, you change it back, and
it's a rabbit hole you can go down.
It's a rabbit hole you can go down. So unless you're planning on doing a lot of skiing and a lot of training through the winter, or you're just really, really struggling, I would suggest leaving your fin. But if you decide to change it, in my opinion, and what I've felt before, the first thing to go would be making a slightly smaller fin. So going either taking out a little bit of depth, maybe touching a little bit of length, but then we can get bitey, or depending on where your numbers are, or maybe just going forward. So essentially just taking a little bit of drag out, a little bit of grip out the back of the ski, allowing things to turn, because essentially the water's grippier.
It's grippier, and it's not allowing it to smear.
It's not allowing it to smear, it's not allowing it to rotate anywhere in the course. So that's my opinion. I believe Marcus agrees on that one. And that's what I've heard from a lot of very, very smart people with a fin. So if you decide to change, I would go that direction first. But again, we're about trying things. So if you go the other way and it really works, let us know.
Yeah, please do. I mean, that's cold water.
I think that's cold water skiing.
Yeah, I don't think we need
Get good equipment. Get a good wetsuit. It is cold.
It is chilly.
It is chilly. Find out what works for you. Try warm water on your hands. Try cold water on your hands beforehand. Find out what works there. Have a lot of fun. Don't get too finny with it. Fin's a fin.
Don't expect your PBs.
Yeah, and don't expect PBs. Yeah. I think that's summarized the podcast. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget, folks, if you want to support the podcast, we got hats on our website. We've got shirts. We've got all kinds of stuff. 4pointmethod.com.
I don't actually think that bottle is, you can't buy the bottle.
I don't think you can buy the bottle yet, but if you want,
it's coming. Let us know.
We will have some more of those. And DM, comments below. GiveGo's, Rob and I and Jenny, we're all on GiveGo if you want to send some video for some coaching. And let us know what you want to hear more of.
I love it. Yeah. Send us a DM.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, listening, subscribing, all that kind of good stuff. And we will see or listen or watch you guys in the next one, I guess.
Very soon.
Very soon.
See ya.
Bye.